Hello, everyone. I'm here with Dr. Kamran Afzal. He's one of the veins team physicians with the Hackett Hemwall Patterson Foundation. Dr. Afzal volunteers annually in our medical brigades that happen in Guadalajara. He brings both his experience and his valuable time to help people who need necessary help with veins issues and to help people who are underserved, who don't have access to medical help or can't afford that medical help. So we are very fortunate to have you here today, Dr. Afzal, to talk to us a little bit about why you do the things that you do and perhaps to have your people who are engaged with you try to support the Hackett Hemwall Patterson Foundation as well.
Thank you so much, Kay, for having me. It has been a privilege being associated with Hackett Hemwall Foundation. Now it's called Hackett Hemwall Patterson Foundation because Dr. Patterson, who gave so much of his life to Hackett Hemwall Foundation, passed away on my birthday, 24th January. I still remember I came back from Guadalajara after the mission trip, and it happened a couple of weeks later. So Hackett Hemwall Foundation, in many ways, is very close to my heart.
Oh, I can certainly understand that. And that was just a tragic time for everybody, and especially for the foundation. And all that happened was he was such a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're forging on. And first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, because I know you're busy and you've got a medical practice to run. What I'd like to know is, why do you volunteer for a medical mission? And what made you choose the Hackett Hemwall Patterson Foundation?
It was in 2009. The 2008 crash had happened. I was working for the hospital. I also had a clinic job. I was working 70 hours a week, and all my savings were going into stocks. I had purchased an investment property, and then everything went upside down. And at that time, I said, this is not a good life plan. And I need to do things that are important to me, that bring me closer to the person I want to be. And at that time, a friend of mine told me that there was a group of doctors meeting at the vein meeting in Marco Island. And we met in a small room. It was a hotel room that one of the guests had, and we had a meeting there. And I liked the guys, and they invited me. I did not treat varicose veins at that time. And I went. My first trip was to Honduras. And I went because I felt like I had something to give. But I'll tell you, every time I came back, I felt like I got more than I gave.
Oh, that's what I hear from a lot of people. So it's good that that resonates with you as well. Well, you've been helping us then for many years, both in Honduras and Mexico, and both of those are very high need countries. Do you have a story or a situation that you recall that has been rewarding to you, or that you remember that made you feel like you were helping beyond in a way that wouldn't have happened before?
So if I was to talk about the stories of people that came sometimes from 12 hours away, they had no place to stay in town. They rode in a bus. They were going to have treatment, and then they were going to go back. There are so many of those stories. And if I talk about the number of ulcers we saw that got better, there are so many of them. It's truly a beautiful thing. If a person has not experienced it, they should, or they should definitely participate in any possible way they can, because it opens your eyes to the rest of the world. I do remember that it's outside the scope of our mission, but our mission in Guadalajara is in a church. And the first time I went, the pastor, he was talking about the Bible. And he said that, when you get a new phone, you have a phone book with it. Like, you have a little book that tells you how to use the phone. And that was like in 2009. So the StarTAC, the flip phones were the rage at that time. And he said the Bible is the same thing. It's a guidebook to your life, to how to live your life. And it kind of resonated with me. And 5 years later, I was sitting with him having lunch. Between morning and evening clinics, we have lunch. And
Mhm.
I told him that I remembered his lesson, and his eyes just like popped open. And he said, "You just gave me the idea for the sermon tomorrow." That guy who doesn't even go to the church here, is not even Christian, remembers what I said 5 years ago. His parishioners better remember what he says yesterday. So I was like, oh my God, am I in trouble? He was like, no, 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 I will put it in a nice way. And, it was very nice. So my point being, the people over there where we go are really kind with their time, their organization. It's
Yes,
a very well structured environment. All you have to do is show up and treat patients. And
that's
the
right.
and the organization on the back end is where they get the medications, the supplies. The team leaders help out, like Kurt helps out in a lot of providing the information on what we need. And obviously, he talks to us about it as well. So it's a very well organized, very thought out trip where you get to do what you went there for rather than trying to figure out how to get more material to treat patients.
Sure, sure. Well, you mentioned about the organization of this trip, and all of the trips that we put together are it's not difficult, but it's very time consuming, from getting all the people who want to volunteer, whether they're doctors, nurses, other volunteers who will support them, or gathering and purchasing all the supplies, and then to shipping all the supplies and getting them to our clinics. Not to mention, as you said, the clinics set up in a church, setting up these clinics in some of the most unusual places. But that's where the people are, that's where the need is, and that's where it happens. So all of that is a huge undertaking. If you had to connect with the people whom you serve in your practice here in the United States and ask them to help support those missions, what would you tell them? What would you ask of them?
I think the cost of medication has gone up so much, and we
Mhm.
get
Yes.
limited donation of medication. So the best way to do that would be to provide funds for medication. Now, the providers, the physicians, the nurses, the staff that goes there from a volunteer standpoint, we buy our own ticket. We pay for our own hotel. We pay for our
Mhm.
own meals. We also pay a fee to Hackett Hemwall that covers the basic necessities of us being there. So that money would not go towards funding people to go there. That
True.
money would go towards getting the gauze, getting the gloves, making sure they have enough medication. We have enough medication to treat the patients.
That's
Uh,
right.
so that money is very well spent. I still remember when we were going to Honduras that Dole would send trucks from Honduras to Wisconsin. And
Mhm.
these trucks, these big containers would bring like pineapples, because their pineapples are phenomenal. And then
True.
unloading it. And Mary, who was at that time in your place, okay, she would then get volunteers, and providers would go to load those trucks with donated laptops and computers and technology for schools. So it's much more than just the clinic you are supporting. You're supporting giving an opportunity to people who do not have the opportunity that we have here, not at the same level, but at some level. So it
True.
is like a step for them to
Yeah, I would
put
I
on
would
their.
say it's supporting a community. It's
Mhm.
it's much more than just the medical side of it. and the community benefits. And that donation program has been a wonderful expansion for the Hackett Hemwall Patterson Foundation that started just as the medical foundation. And then year by year by year, it's grown to all of the things that you mentioned that are donated, and especially donated medical supplies that go beyond our missions to local hospitals and clinics that may be far flung from any other type of resource medically wise that they could receive those things. So you're right, that the whole dole phenomenon and the transporting it's been really a great asset for us. I know that you're a very busy person, and I certainly do respect your time, and I certainly do respect the amount of time that you have donated, the years that you have donated to the Hackett Hemwall Patterson Foundation, as you say, as a volunteer who's paid his way, and all the time bringing medical expertise to people who wouldn't have otherwise had it. The Hackett Hemwall Patterson Foundation is indebted to you, and we're very grateful, as are all of the people whom you serve. Thank you so much, Dr. Afzal.
Thank you. So I will share with you the before and after photograph of this person that was 12 years old when we first, on a third trip, he was 12 years old. And so he's standing with my wife at that time. And the last trip we went, he is like in his 20s with a beard, a full grown man. That transition from a little kid to a grown man. It's been a lot of fun to see these young kids that are translators, and they are one of the most amazing kids I have ever met. They're so dedicated, so on point, and they grow and they get opportunities, and their mind opens when they talk to us, as it does when they talk to their parents and teachers as well.
Of course.
But it gives them another dimension. And it's been wonderful to see these young people grow up to be doctors, nurses, engineers. I still remember there was this same person that I'm talking about. When he was in college, I was trying to get him an externship in the United States so he could come here. He's the only child of a single mother, and that lady makes our food in Guadalajara. Her name is Monica. She's a wonderful lady. She's been there since the beginning, and she always makes sure that I don't eat any pork because I don't eat pork. And she's like, "You can't eat this, Cam. You can eat this." And so she specifically for me that I don't eat pork. And if I end up eating pork, it's not going to kill me. It's just a way of life, you know.
Sure.
Her son wanted to come, and we tried to get him over, but his visa was denied because he was very young. Now, finally, he got his visa, and I saw on his story that he was in Los Angeles and San Diego, and it was very nice to see him on stateside, just roaming around, being a tourist. So, yeah, you see a lot of lives in front of you that grow and mature into phases of life. And that's really has been a lot of fun watching that.
Yeah, I think one of the upshots of this whole foundation is that it doesn't just help patients and transform their lives. It transforms everyone who's involved in the mission as well as the patients, the doctors, the volunteers, and as you mentioned, volunteers who have been with the Guadalajara mission now for practically 20 years, from a small young age to becoming an adult who now has gone on to perhaps something else, medical or not medical. It's just astounding the way they keep coming back. It's definitely a well-oiled machine, the way they've structured it.
Yeah, and actually one of the docs, David went there. I think he's been going there a long time. He's a wonderful guy. And he fell in love there. And
that's right.
Right? So it's way more than, it's like a complete package of family, drama, and service and community. It's like it's a wonderful experience.
I hear people refer to,
but you can if you want.
Yeah, that's true. I hear people refer to it as the HHPF family and come and be a part of our family. And I think that pretty well sums up the involvement of so many people giving so much of their time, energy, money, and skills to help people in other worlds and to help fulfill some of their own dreams as well. So,
Yeah, I make sure every time I go, when I'm leaving, one of the really important part of this mission uh, is that the bathrooms are like pristine. They
yes,
are. The bathrooms are really clean. And there are two ladies that are always there to make sure the bathrooms are clean. And I make sure I thank them, and they always take a photo with me before I leave, because I want to show my gratitude. Because, you know, the medical part of it, the communication part of it, all of that is very important. But even a task like keeping things clean does
right.
affect the mission, and they do an excellent job in all these levels. And so, if you are watching this video, and I'm talking to everybody, and you feel like you should help out, or do something for somebody who is underserved, I can give you my personal guarantee that I have been with Hackett Hemwall Patterson Foundation for about 14, 15 years, and we are very frugal with how we spend our money. We decide how to get the cheapest, most effective syringes, needles. We do the budget in cents, not dollars. And your money will go a long way in helping people if you choose to contribute to Hackett Hemwall Patterson Foundation. It has been a lovely experience, journey, and pleasure to work amongst such group of people.
Thank you so much, Dr. Afzal, and thank you for reaching out to all of your followers, asking them to support our mission, our foundation that makes such a difference in so many people's lives. They, I think, will feel part of our family if they choose to donate and then become part of our mailing list and keep up with all the great things that are happening that are the Hackett Hemwall Patterson Foundation. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much again.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
See you in Mexico.
Yes, I will see you in Mexico. Yeah, that's just around the corner.